quit is operative in there. Last night, the way that men do. No, not at all. That is the byproduct of a team that had no interest in being there at the Little John last night. The last words of yesterday's show, Tom Lang, as I said to everybody, is it will be very interesting to see if they compete. I said on the show yesterday that I had no doubt Clemson would win this basketball game, and they would probably win it with not much sweat, given that there was a lot on the line. Clemson had played poorly as of late. There were conversations in the college basketball world that Clemson might be on life support, that they were fading fast. A 3-game slide will do that when you lose to Boston College, you lose to Miami, you lose by 20 points to North Carolina. People began to raise an eyebrow about what Clemson was. We just saw Clemson here rather recently, a game that was given away by Florida State in the waning seconds. So you knew that Florida State could play with Clemson. They just did. Should have outright won the basketball game the other night. On the road they go after yet another loss, and you thought, let's see if they show up. Because, it's kind of important to try hard when you're on scholarship to play basketball and you have an ounce of competitive nature in you. It's pretty important to show up, be tough, and give everything you got. Now, just before the game tipped, they did get the unfortunate news that Matthew Cleveland would not be able to play. He's had some back spasms lately, and that's been frustrating, no doubt. It wouldn't have mattered. They would have lost anyhow. He's not Michael Jordan. He's just Matthew Cleveland, who at this point is a pretty good player, not a great player. But it doesn't mean you got to get beat by 40, and that's exactly what Florida State did last night, is lose by 40. 94-54. That's a borderline top 25 team that humiliates you by 40. And it's a reminder of a couple of things. The roster is devoid of any real talent. This roster is not any good. There's a guy here or there worth saving, but the vast majority of these dudes need to get replaced. Some of them, it would be huge addition by subtraction to move on. That 40-point ass kicking is the worst defeat suffered by FSU in 21 years under Leonard Hamilton. They have never been beaten by that many points. So now where are we beyond the obvious 8-win campaign? This is now, by the way, worse than the 04-05 team that finished 12-19, 4-12 in the ACC. And that group lost, frankly, I went back and looked this morning, 8 games by, I think it was 8 games. Oh, my notes here. I put my notes up. Yeah, 8 of their games by 3 points or less. That team did. I remember they were competitive. They fought like hell. They just weren't good. And we kept waiting and hoping. But no, it wasn't any good. This is the kind of stuff that, you saw under Steve Robinson. I remember we lost the game one time under Steve Robinson in, 98. We lost by 48 points, I think, to North Carolina. We lost by 42 points one time to Duke in 2001. You don't tend to forget games like that where a team beats you by nearly half 100. That'll hurt your feelings. So you get into whether it's salvageable and who should stay and who should go. First of all, first guy that I would tell to have a good day, I don't really need him to suit up again at any point this year, is Caleb Mills. Get the hell up out of here. Useless. There's a reason Houston said, by all means, please head on down the road, and then promptly made it to the Final Four without his ass. Yeah, Go. Not tough, not a great teammate, nothing. Go. Useless. From there, I would probably tell Worley, have a good one. I don't know. There are plenty of guys. I do like Corn. I do. House has got to go. Can't play at this level. No reason that he's still on the team. We didn't get to see Gainey. That's unfortunate. You would love his maturity and his defensive presence, his toughness, from what I'm told, and certainly the evidence he displayed when he was in the Ivy League. They don't have guards that can stay in front of anybody. They don't have guards that can create their own offense off the bounce and the rhythm of the game. They just don't have is an operative word. But, the head coach has to take responsibility of that. He put together this roster. This staff has not done a good job with this team this year, even as shorthanded as they are. There's really nothing good to say about this season. But what concerns me most, and you guys know where I'm going with this, and I've talked about this across the board for many years in any sport, when there's evidence that quitting and tuning out of a coaching staff has occurred, you begin to wonder about whether or not you can ever get it back. That's tough to overcome. You would have to flush the roster because you've got quitters. You've got quitters on your hands here. You got guys that don't try real hard, guys that aren't great teammates. This isn't a likable group. They don't win. They're about to set a record for losing around here, and they're getting beat by average teams by, in this case, 40 points. There's no way that a team that you had beat in the waning seconds a week ago beat you by 40 a week later if you're not, checked out. So that's what's happened here, and it's devastating. It's devastating because Leonard Hamilton deserves better. He deserves better, but he also deserves this criticism. I would hate to see him go out like this. Hate it. Hate it. For the man that he is, for the accomplishments that he's achieved, for everything he's given and done to Florida State, for Florida State, it would suck if this is how it ends. But you do reach a point, Tom, at some point of critical mass. They've got 8 wins, man. I don't know you come back from this. Will they win another game? Probably not.
This era of college basketball and college sports is one where you can flush the roster quicker than others.
It is. It's the one hope I have.
Yes. But you're right. Last year when they had a couple of results, the North Carolina roadie and then a road game at Boston College up in that, barn, we came out of that and I said, this group is soft. This team is soft. And I felt uncomfortable saying that because
it's an indictment.
It is. And it's kind of a blip on the radar of the last 5 to 6 years. Like you would see last season as, wow, this is different than the others.
Sure, because they were really good just 2 years ago.
And they were tough. But they were tough consistently throughout. So, it felt like going from 0 to 60 a little bit to call them soft, but you got to call it as it is. You got to speak to what you're watching. You can't ignore it. And for as weird as it felt last year to call a group soft or that they quit, say that they quit, now it's so normalized that it's scary. I assume they're going to quit. And man, that's a far cry from saying, what are you doing? You're insulting the guys who built Ham 2.0, this program, by putting on that uniform and putting forth that effort. That was last year. What are you doing? And now it's, oh yeah, that's what you do. That's that you're talking about a threshold. You're talking about a point of no return. And I hope we're not there, but it's not like it's getting better. And this is ending on an up note of these guys are valiantly fighting, but they're not good enough. This is ending with the worst kind of a thud.
Had a lot of stubbornness involved here. Ham he admitted himself that he was slow to pivot to the modern game, meaning NIL, transfer portal, and roster overhaul. So once you admit to that, okay, fine, that's obvious, but he admitted to it. That's great. But then when you do not have the personnel to try to do what you attempt to do on a regular basis defensively and refuse to switch out of that, and the personnel is incapable of going about the process of defending the way you'd like to see some malleability there. I don't see it at all. So you have stubborn upon stubborn, and now you have mounting losses and ugly ones at that, and evidence of kids quitting. And I think, my thought a couple weeks ago, Tom, just you and I talking, we knew this season was going to end poorly. So last night's not a revelation. Nobody watched last night's game and said, oh no, we suck. No, you had declared the level of ineptitude some weeks ago. It was evident this was not going to be a good season. It was evident they were going to amass a lot of losses. It was evident that this was substandard and frustrating. So, I don't want to be the guy that beats a dead horse because they lose another game. It's the way they lost. It's how they lost. It's the way it's beginning to look. The other part of the problem for me is that when you're a bad team, you need evidence that there is room for growth, that there are players. Like sometimes you just field a real young team. For example, I would say that they had the presence of 5 freshmen in the rotation. So in a normal year, you'd say, all right, well, you have that many youngsters in your lineup. Can I fall back on the idea that that group is going to be good and soon? No. No, I can't. There are no Al Thorntons or Solomon Alabys out there. There are no Kumajis or Ojos or Devin Vassell's or Kabengele's out there. We're not, those guys that you'd look at and say, well, there's ability there. There's length there. There's toughness there. They're mentally tough. They're trying. They're just not good enough. They're not seasoned enough. They haven't been through the meat grinder of the ACC. They'll learn. They'll figure it out. They'll get stronger in the gym. They'll build their bodies. And it'll match their skill, which is raw right now. And, they got to – no, when I look at the roster, I go, what? What do you got to look forward to? Corin. I like Corin. He's a toughie. He's a keeper. He'll get stronger. I like him a lot. I think Corin's a good player. I don't know about a lot of guys. I mean, it's frustrating. I'm looking at the roster right now. I'm just going through the names.
Well, look at the last 3 road losses. They're 1-3 in their last 4 on the road. The win is over Louisville, which
the worst team in the league, along with Georgia Tech.
Yeah, full marks for beating Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
But 28 was the margin of defeat at at NC State. You also have a 40-point loss, and then you've got a 23-point loss.
Yeah, they're not competing.
23, 28, and 40 in your last 3 road losses are the margins of defeat. You're averaging 30 points a loss. That's
what I mean. That's where
there's losing, and then there's this.
That's what I mean. I was trying to express my frustration not about the loss. I thought they were going to lose. Again, I said yesterday as we were parting, what will this look like tonight? What will this look like? Will they compete? Will we see an effort that you can be proud of in defeat? The season's a goner. We already know that. Everybody realizes that. So, it's not that they lost. It's that they don't compete. They have tuned out the staff. They're not attempting in good faith to take the floor and give their best effort. We're not seeing it. So these are the kinds of things, I didn't think. I'll put it this way. There was a part of me last night. It kind of bounced around in my head. I didn't think Ham was in any trouble until last night. Last night I thought, we might have a real problem here. We might be heading down a different road.
Right. It's the at what point ... discussion.
I thought Ham sounded like it too, by the way.
That's happening more and more.
I mean, I think he realizes the level of urgency we're talking about here. Like, the whole, we will not look like this the next time we come here. I mean, he's basically telling you, I'm gutting this roster. But I'm wondering, will he get the chance?
Well, that's where it is somewhat understandable that you might have an effort that's a clunker like this, because he's been making more and more comments like that. As classy as he can say it, he's saying it, that this isn't the group that's going to fix the problem. So you could see where the toxicity would take you to a place that blowouts happen more frequently in the last month. Not saying it's good, because, that film sticks with you, the player,
well, and
just
it's also,
as much.
And it's also under, if you want to look at the player or at the coach, it's not good.
If you want to go to a different situation and this is what you have on film,
it's devastating.
That's devastating to your chances to go anywhere that you could do something and further your own career, because there is a parting of ways coming at the end of the season. It's just how fundamental is the parting of ways?
Yeah.
Is it coach and players, or is it athletic department and coach plus players?
I tell you what, man, the Q word, that is just deadly.
It is common. It is common.
It's so awful. And that's where, when you watch it from afar anywhere else, what do we say? Well, they've quit on him. They're going to have to go a different direction.
Correct. There are minimum of 5 games in the last calendar year to 13 months that you could point to and say, yep, capital Q, capital U, capital I, capital T, exclamation point. At minimum 5. You could probably argue for more.
I hate it. It just disgusts me. It really, really bothers me to no end that this is what we're witnessing from not just listen. I understand that our fan base cares much more about football than they do basketball. It's a luxury when basketball's good. It's not a necessity. Football is king. That's true everywhere. But you want all of your programs to be successful. You'd like to put your programs in the best position to succeed. It uplifts all of us when the program is obviously winning and is successful. There are a lot of reasons for that. Culture is one of those. All those things matter, right? Michael Alford has been very aggressive. He's done a very good job. He's in good standing. He's well liked. He's made good decisions over the course of a couple of important ones most recently. He's got a tough one here, man. He's got a very tough one here because this is only 2 really bad years. It's not 10, it's 2. But do you think it's going to get better is the fundamental question you have to ask. Do you think that the man in charge, whom no doubt they admire greatly and appreciate greatly, I know that for a fact, they all do in that administration, as they should. But do you think he's capable at 74, 75 before next year of getting this turned around?
Well, and you've got to take a look at, I get it's meager compared to football revenue, but you got to take a look at the revenues generated by the sport. You're counting on this one to be more than self-sufficient. It should turn a little bit of a profit for you between the TV revenue and then the in-house stuff at the Civic Center, because again, these were hot tickets for quite a while. The pandemic was right smack dab in the middle of it, and that sucks. But these were hard tickets to get in town, even with good connections. If you didn't have them early for not just Duke, not just North Carolina, Louisville, Syracuse, Purdue, name your game, Florida. They were tough tickets to get. And if you're putting a graph together about projections for next year, just go to the financials of it. About season ticket renewals, booster contributions, NIL
well, you're going
money.
straight to the bottom line. I certainly
That's
get
where
that.
he's got to go.
Yeah.
And the thing is that Leonard has been here before, but never quite like this. I've mentioned it recently that there was a press release put out about a 1-year extension for Coach Ham's contract. John Thrasher was on that press release. And in so many words, he said, we're confident that he can get the job done.
Yeah.
This is it. We could see another one of those style press releases this offseason where this is it. One last ride. Let's see if you can get it together. Or if you've got a few more weeks of results like this, you go to Greensboro and you get bounced by 40, or you're probably playing Louisville. So you lose by 12 to Louisville in Greensboro. I don't know, man.
When I listen to him talk, I can hear the bitter disappointment, frustration, the under the surface rage. Imagine we've all been in limbo. It's a horrible feeling. I'd rather, good news, bad news. Let me know what I'm staring at. Let me know what I'm dealing with so I can concoct a plan to deal with the situation. I can take action to get things turned around. When it became evident, and I don't know the moment in time, but when it became evident that Leonard Hamilton, in Leonard's mind, I'm talking about as Leonard Hamilton now, when it became evident to him that this ain't it, that we're in real trouble, could have been 15 games ago, could have been before the season began, could have been the exhibition game, could have been game 8, where he walked off the court and went, ooh, we got a problem.
He knew in the preseason interview with you that
I don't
at least
think
out the gate, it was going to be problematic.
Yeah, but he didn't think this would be an 8-win team. There's no way. I believe he's an eternal optimist, and I think he believes that their coaching, and they have proven it over time, that team will get better and better as the year grows. I think he knew they weren't there were no danger of making the Final Four, but I don't think he thought they were going to be this, which is the worst club that we have fielded maybe ever. That's a stark contrast.
Yeah, ever. That's the hard part. It's like not just in your tenure, but now you're going toe to toe with the red zone. Like this is where you're going.
Right.
And you have heard, maybe you even told me this story, but we hear stories over the years, and Coach Ham's been around a long time. So he was already entrenched as Florida State's head coach when I was a freshman in undergrad. It's a long span of time, but you hear these stories behind the scenes over the years. And there's one that sticks out to me. I'll speak generally on it. But there was a player who left the program years and years ago and could have used some assistance just in terms of facilitating a basketball career. And he didn't leave on the greatest terms, but as the story went, Coach Ham said, "Hey, man, in the end, they're always one of ours. So let's
Yeah, he
see
welcomes
what we
back.
can do."
Yeah.
I wonder if he would, for a selection of this crop of this roster, say he's one of ours. I don't know, man. I couldn't see it. If a couple of these players called him in 5 or 10 years and said, "Yeah, I could use some help," I wonder if he would take that call or not, because this is a little different.
Yeah, it is. The thing is that one of the reasons that you really like Leonard and the reason that he is so well respected is the fact that he never likes to put anything on the players. He takes the blame, as coaches should. And also, he constructed this roster, so whatever they're not is on him. Now, I get it. There's some frustrating guys on this team that are not all that likable, but again, that ultimately falls at the feet of the head coach. I just wonder when that moment happened, when he realized this isn't it and we're in real trouble. I think you go from there to where we are now is very different. Like, it's the reason I bring this up is that, how he's been fairly stoic in these press conferences. It's because once you've realized your situation and you're not at liberty to do anything about it in season, you're just sort of playing out the string. And while it's maddening each time you watch it, there's really nothing that can be done about it in the moment. And so it's tough because you're held hostage, Tom. It's one of those things where you're like,
Correct.
if you get told, listen, we can't salvage this reclamation project in your backyard that you've started here. You're going to need a new house. Like, your piping, all of it's done. So then at that point, it's a matter of time.
Don't you put that evil on me.
I'm just saying, like, it's a matter of time before you have to replace the roof or you have to replace whatever it is. And you're just putting, lipstick on a pig. You're like, well, I don't have $15,000 right now to spend on a roof. Let me do this for another month, and then we'll get our affairs in order. Whatever. People get in these positions, no matter where you are. It's the worst feeling in the world because every day you still see the same blight. But it doesn't mean that today is any different than yesterday, that you can do anything about it. But it's the worst.
Yeah, that's what John says in the chat here is, how many times can we say the same thing? Well, John, for perspective with other sports, this is nothing.
Oh,
we had the same conversation about the Martin family for going on 20 years. And with the football program, the last 5 years, I mean, we could keep doing this. But if you'd like a finite answer, John, I'll give it to you. There are 4 games left in the regular season.
Yeah, 4 more times.
One more to be played, I think, because we have to go play in the ACC tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So 5. The number is 5.
Well, and also, it's not exactly the same thing. I've gone from, this sucks, we'll see if you can get it turned around, the NIL will work, we live in an era now where you can flush your roster and start anew and bring in transfer portal players, to, I'm not so sure he's going to get that opportunity. That's a different talking point entirely. Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Motorcycle accident? Call Basic Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
July 9, 1755, near Fort Duquesne, now the city of Pittsburgh, a 23-year-old British officer leads his troops in battle during the French and Indian War. Though fired upon repeatedly, this young lieutenant colonel remains unharmed, to the disbelief of the native warriors. 15 years later, a respected chief sat over a council fire with this same man. As he told all those listening, the Great Spirit protects this man and guides his destiny. He will become the chief of nations, and a people yet unborn will hail him as the founder of a mighty empire. The man was George Washington, who went on to become the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army and the first president of the United States. Celebrating our nation's quest for freedom. Whitten Glass on South Monroe. For mirrors, shower enclosures, and window glass, call 222-5781. And Sellers Tile on Capitol Circle Northeast. For tile, carpet, hardwood, and luxury vinyl, call 656-8453.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to drink water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mndlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Hi, this is Jamie McClenny from Trek Financial in Tallahassee. Managing downside risk in your portfolio is one of the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement. Trillions of dollars in stimulus from the Federal Reserve and D.C. politicians, combined with zero interest rates, have propped up financial markets since the financial crisis ended in 2009. The Fed recently ended quantitative easing and has started to raise interest rates at a time when the global economy was already slowing. Have you considered what another 50% correction in the stock market would do to your retirement plan? If you're concerned about where this all might be headed and would like to find out about the potential benefits of an active risk management strategy for your portfolio, give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule a time for a review of your portfolio from an active risk management perspective.
Make Jamie your first call for a second opinion. Investment advisory services are offered through Trek Financial, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
I don't gamble on the XFL, at least not yet. That will get started. At least not yet.
Yeah, at least not yet on XFL gambling is a good place to go because you are a preseason betting Jesse in the NFL.
I make a lot of money doing it. And I've been able to invite others that are like-minded and perhaps sporting to the game of preseason NFL gambling. We've all shared at the ATM. That is Coach Harbaugh and the caring deeply of winning said preseason games.
Why does it seem like every move they make is a good one? That's something we've asked a lot after draft night.
Talking about
for the
Baltimore
Ravens.
Yeah.
They go get Todd Monken. That's their new offensive coordinator.
Which is devastating because I wanted the Bucs to go get Todd Monken.
Same here. Instead, we got Seattle's quarterback coach, which maybe, I don't know.
Who knows? Really wanted Todd Monken.
Yeah.
But alas, he moves on, and I'm glad he's not at Georgia because he did a good job there. It's
Went
time
back
for,
to Bobo.
I know.
That's interesting.
Yeah, good for them. Maybe with the beginning to the end. Here we go. I've had enough of you. It was a nice little run while it lasted. The two championships is plenty. Move it along here. Nothing to see. What a crazy time. Tonight at 6 o'clock, a live version of Wake Up Warchant for you guys to tune into. And I wonder if this will come up. Here you go, fellas. You don't need me to give you fodder. You're both very, very capable talkers, if you will. But you saw the 12th Man Fund pushing the NIL envelope story. I don't often read to you, but I'm going to here for just a moment. Humor me and we'll talk about it. The story, that is. The wording of the press release it goes like this: will receive fair market value compensation to promote the organization's mission through marketing services such as social media posts, appearances at events, and speaking engagements. That wasn't from the NIL collective at Texas A&M, though. That's the difference in the story. Came from a 73-year-old booster club that in 2021-2022 raised $96.3 million through donations, only donations, tied to season ticket packages for the athletic department it supports. Texas A&M's 12th Man Foundation announcing yesterday that they have, in fact, entered the NIL business. That's different. The foundation, which is affiliated with Texas A&M, but not officially part of the university or the athletic department, has created a marketing fund called the 12th Man Fund that pays athletes to promote the mission of the foundation, which is to raise money to give to Texas A&M's athletic department. So the 12th Man Fund can pay the starting quarterback at Texas A&M or receiver to promote the 12th Man Club. And this is where we're headed. It's the first time in NIL history, a history that is 1 year old, that a school's booster group is attached to a unit set up to pay players. It's a similar model at Arkansas with the Razorback Foundation. It's branded differently. In the old days, as they say, the other schools would run to the NCAA. The more skittish compliance directors would send word through their athletic departments that said, don't do this. Don't even think about trying this, guys. This is going to get us in trouble. Schools and collectives now moving quickly to find out perhaps the advantages of being able to do this. And we know today, both chambers of Florida State's legislature, voted to repeal. That was yesterday, actually. They expect Governor Ron DeSantis to sign today. He did. He's already done it. So Florida, the state of Florida, is no longer dealing with the restrictive laws that other states did not have to deal with in their efforts to compete in the NIL. This seemed to be a foregone conclusion. We wondered how soon. Thankfully, it's happened.
Yeah, the only question, as I understand it at this point, is whether or not the collective groups need to have a university liaison or not. I heard that there was going to be some language attached to the bill regarding that. And if that's the case, then do you have to deal with university compliance as a collective that exists separate the university? So the merging process is still going to yield in any legislation. We know this just from our own existence as citizens, that there's always an unintended consequence or some kind of red tape issue. I mean, look at the radio industry with the FCC. There's a whole lot of filings that need to happen. So I think there are some more steps that these collectives need to take in order to be compliant now. And they might be subject to university compliance or some sort of university athletic department personnel to be a bridge between themselves and the university. We'll see how that all pans out, but I would anticipate that these collectives at different institutions in the state of Florida are going to start to make announcements in earnest that reflect the new legislation. I would think so.
Per The Athletic, Andy Staples writes, the particulars aren't completely hammered out. It's possible the foundation, which has tax-exempt status, could create a for-profit subsidiary for its NIL activities to ensure it retains its tax-exempt status. Meanwhile, the 12th Man Fund website provides vague guidance on how tax-deductible donations for NIL purposes might go.
Somebody's going to get this wrong.
The 12th Man Foundation will provide donors with a tax receipt. Donors should consult their tax advisors.
It's not our fault.
To determine the deductibility of that donation.
Yeah, they're making it up. It's just a statement on their website, says the advisor. That's not deductible at all.
A person with knowledge of the 12th Man Foundation plans explain that the foundation believes that they are in compliance with Texas NIL law and with NCAA rules because the 12th Man Foundation is not officially part of Texas A&M's athletic department. Its executives aren't on the athletic department payroll. That isn't the case at some schools. The foundation is contracted to raise money for the athletic department, and Texas A&M's athletic department could end the relationship at any time. So we will see whether the proximity provides a tighter control on NIL deals. It's possible, but
Look, the NCAA, this is much like the drug testing policy rule.
yeah, you have to
for the
follow your own
NCAA.
guidelines.
Right, within your state. So that's where the NCAA can come in and lay down the hammer beyond the basics like an inducement, pay for play. Like they're going to rule on that, and by all accounts, they're gearing up to make an example of some institutions to that end, and make it a not a test case, but a cautionary tale out of somebody for other institutions and say, look at Miami and look at what we've done to them now because they're not following the state of Florida.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the state itself will not levy any penalty on a university in its system. Like, this is only good for each state to drive more high-profile athletes to Texas or to Florida or to Georgia. Why would they ever come down hard on their own universities? First of all, university graduates are too connected within state politics.
Correct.
But then you're also driving away money and revenue from the state, because if your football team is under investigation by the state, nobody's going to go watch them because the NCAA is going to restrict. So the legislation, or I'm sorry, the enforcement's going to come down from the NCAA level, or what you're talking about, which is if you didn't dot I's and cross T's from a tax standpoint, the feds are going to come after you and
That's
say,
different altogether, but yes,
right.
yes.
Remember, Rising Spear did this straight out the gate. They said that there are two places that you can give money: to the chunk of cash so we can do the $1,000 handshake deal, or do it to a tax-deductible portion of Rising Spear, and we'll make sure that those dollars are earmarked for, say, kids going to talk to your son at middle school football level or something along those lines, or going to the Boys and Girls Club. But this sounds a little bit more murky, what they're doing with the 12th man.
It
It's
is
just a one-size-fits-all.
It's fascinating, and folks will begin to monitor very, very closely. Florida's just now, by the way, Florida Man in Texas, Florida's doing this in terms of Ron. They're catching up. They were behind. In their efforts to be out front, they accidentally
They triggered a domino effect to put them behind.
hamstrung them. So they're just trying to catch up with everybody else. Florida's been sucking hind teeth. And so this is where we've been.
Sounded oddly German.
You say it really fast. Somebody would just nod. Good point. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk.
Fraunhofer, sucking hind teeth.
Like that's a sentence, not a phrase. Yeah. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Well, County was granted $12 million from the state to improve sewer infrastructure through the wastewater grant program. The money will be used to convert neighborhoods that rely on septic systems to use the county's sewer system. County officials said this move will help improve stormwater systems in neighborhoods. The change from septic to sewer will also help the health of the Wakulla Springs Basin. The Florida Highway Patrol responded to a deadly crash Wednesday afternoon that left 2 people dead after crashing into the Chipola River around 4:14 p.m. The crash happened on I-10 and State Road 8 at Chipola River. An RV was traveling outside the eastbound lane of I-10 approaching the Chipola River Bridge. It appeared there was a possible tire failure that caused the driver to lose control of the RV. The RV overturned multiple times before landing on the ground below the bridge, partially submerged in the Chipola River. The 73-year-old driver, 68-year-old passenger, and their dog all died at the scene. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with highs around 78. Winds out of the south 10 to 20 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms tonight. Lows dip down to about 64. Cloudy skies expected. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 67. Overcast skies. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 78.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, Bears have their own space. You
Well,
got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying? I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Hey, Greg Tish here along with
Matty Rowe.
And you can listen to us Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3. Matt, we give away a couple things each week.
Just a few.
We've got the Florida Farm Bureau Insurance Wheel of Food. We have Give Me a Second, where we play a second of a song and you guess that song. And we also play FLA or Nay. We have a lot of fun Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on
The Greg Tish Show.
Think that's enough?
We can talk about our feelings.
There's a lot.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Like the sentence that Tom strung together after I said sucking hind tit. That's it. That's the phrase. And it's not a, by the way, that's not a infraction of any kind.
Glad to hear that.
Just so you know.
Much different than maybe a nickname you gave a certain defensive coach years ago live on the air.
That was a good one. You were driving down the road, were you not?
Yeah, I was going by your old Berkshire Manor, and I called the hotline.
Lovely Berkshire Manor.
I called the hotline. I said, "Hey, man, did you just hear? What are you talking about?" That was my Millar impression, limited Millar impression. Man, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Even that wasn't really a problem. I mean, it was.
I mean, yeah, it was actually great.
Marcus Freeman was made to look bad by his own university there. He brought in Andy Ludwig last Friday. He is the Utah offensive coordinator. And Marcus Freeman, a first-time head coach there at Notre Dame under a lot of pressure, got it turned around in the second half of the season, which was nice, but he decided we've got to be better on offense because we're fairly impotent. And I like what that there Andy Ludwig has done at Utah. They're steady lighting people up at Utah, and they're doing so with less. So I'm going to bring him in here to Notre Dame. And so there they were at a game, and up on the big video board, there was Freeman and Ludwig. And he puts his arm around Ludwig and smiles, which is to suggest we got our guy. We have got our guy. Ludwig, who flew in from Salt Lake City to South Bend on a private jet for his second interview, was a no-brainer. There it was. He's at the game. He's with the head coach. They're smiling for the Jumbotron. Everybody's, all right, we got him. Oops, they didn't get him. He's been kneecapped. Their head coach has been kneecapped in humiliating fashion. That's a toughie. So the problem turns out that there was a big buyout for Mr. Ludwig. A lot. Buyout of nearly $3 million. Because he was due to make $1.3 million and $1.4 back-to-back years. They just signed him to a new deal with all these bonuses. And I guess Notre Dame, and perhaps Coach Freeman, didn't know that he had just signed this deal recently, and they went about the process of bringing him in. And then when they realized that they were going to have to stroke a big check to get him away from Utah, the university told Freeman, we're not going to do it. Too much money. What? You're Notre Dame. It's in your back pocket. It's between the cushions of the couch. That ain't a good message. That is one that I would think rightfully as the head coach, you would have a real problem with. Not only did you get humiliated in front of the masses, but now publicly it's pretty tough to argue you're in control of much of anything within the football program. Holy moly. Why do I bring it up? You might say, why is he talking about Notre Dame? It's the antithesis of the situation at Florida State. When Mike Norvell wanted to bring in a high-profile secondary coach, defensive backs coach, and one that many people wanted, it took mere seconds to make sure that deal got done with the university backing that one would hope you have after signing a new long-term contract yourself.
Well, and then also look at the Braden Fisk situation. There's a kid coming from the Midwest, Western Michigan. Notre Dame was in on him heavily, and they were thought to be the front runner. And we were in the running as a serious contender. But if you believe the whispers out there, Notre Dame was not willing to go to a place, NIL-wise, to make it happen.
You're a Notre Dame fan, booster, supporter of any kind.
The arrogance, the pride, I think, is getting in the way.
I think you'd be appalled, by the way. I mean, can you imagine? For the paltry sum of $3 million of a buyout, you can't pony up to get your offensive coordinator?
It's called a second collection, guys. You do it all the time.
What are we doing? How does that happen? I read that story and then had to reread it and thought, whoa. Wait. Notre Dame just undermined their own head coach? Who's been there for all of a year?
Yeah, so wait a second. What you're going to tell me is the academic standards to get players in here is more difficult. And so I already have it on one end to have to be above and beyond, which is why Brian Kelly left for LSU.
Because he can win a national championship there and not here.
Correct.
Although your stated goal is for us to be in the college football playoff, and I'm overcoming these odds. And the way to best do that is identify coordinators that have to do the same in places that are less desirable to play football and overcome those situations, like Mr. Ludwig here.
We've got to do more with less of a talent pool because our standards are very, very high to get them into the university. Moreover, and might I add, dear chancellor or university president or athletic director, we live in a dump of a town. We've got to do better.
For it is true, I have been both to South Bend and Salt Lake City, sir, and I can tell you from firsthand experience that is 100% accurate. Now, you deal with goofy, weird, twisted, messed up things in both cities. But if we're talking about sheer beauty and desirability.
Walk outside your front door, and which place is better?
That is correct. If we're just talking about the walk outside your front door test, the answer is Salt Lake City. And then some.
I'm sure the campus is better, too. I'm sure it is.
I've not toured Utah's campus. I can't tell you that's the case. Perhaps it is.
It exists, so therefore it is.
You're a little harsher on the campus than I am. The stadium, however, is fair game.
And all the athletic fields,
well,
that whole collection of the parking
the town
lots.
is certainly fair game.
But I mean, you've walked by, the fields when we were walking from the tailgate.
I did, yeah.
And there's the baseball field over here. I know what Link's talking about. I've seen him like, that's it?
Tough times.
That's it?
Tough times.
My high school had a better setup.
That said, the hockey arena that I got to go in was gorgeous. They play a smashing brand of hockey.
What do you know? It's an indoor sport.
Yeah.
I'm sure their bowling alleys are wonderful, too.
As they should be on all campuses. And I've not been over to the new Crenshaw yet.
We got to do that.
Let's go. Let's go, buddy.
So, and a nondescript day. We'll take the day off.
And we'll bowl and drink.
You'll put a wink emoji, wink and smile emoji out there on social. That just means that's where we are that day.
Come on out. Be looking for the wink thumbs up emoji.
Or don't. But yeah, that's what we're doing.
We're bowling. Wow, that had to hurt, man. Can you imagine if you are Coach Freeman? You're like, well, guys, why did you let me fly him in? Well, I mean, we were at the game, the whole thing. It looks like it was going to. And it's funny because Notre Dame attempted, when they contacted Utah, according to reports, attempted to negotiate that buyout down. They didn't like the number. They thought it was too high. They thought, this is too much. Too much for a coordinator. We don't want to spend that much. Can we work something out? And Utah went, no. No, we can't. Notre Dame was aghast. What do you mean? You won't take less? I mean, he's going to leave. I mean, we'll give you $2 million, but not $3 million. We don't. No. He'll be here. Unless you want to pay the 3 point whatever. I mean, no. And of course, Utah didn't have to negotiate. That's what the clause is in the contract, right? You don't have to do it. You're screwed. That had to have been a fun phone call to take. A groveling Notre Dame call. I mean, is there a better phone call than you can take?
What would John Smith do? I just want to ask you. This man wants to
You know
leave.
how much fun I'd have with that phone call? Oh, well, it is great to hear from you guys. What's on your mind on this fine Wednesday afternoon? I've got time. Captive audience, I'm driving home. What is it that you'd like to speak with me about? Buyout. Oh, sure. I'm sure by now you've surveyed the contract. That's the buyout. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Joe, Java, Brew, Go-Go Beans, Brainwater, Liquid Lightning, Wakey Juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Get to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
Services to call away. 222-7722. Heating and cooling is the job we do. Parker Services. Conferences to call away.
Invest in a Peak Performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. Florida license number CMC 050334.
Parker Services. Conferences to call away. Parker Services. Conferences to call away.
Whitten Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Whitten's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whitten Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Whitten Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at whittenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Tampa Bay Lightning edged the Colorado Avalanche 4-3 last night as a $1.25 road favorite. Third straight win for the Lightning. They're on the road tonight at Arizona, playing $2.40 as the favorite. The Coyotes plus 200, 6.5 flat, the total. SEC basketball today. Florida Gators a 10-point home favorite against Ole Miss. 137.5 the total at the O'Connell Center. The Gators have dropped 3 straight to fall to 13-12 of the season. Florida State on the road at Clemson as a 10-point underdog. 146.5 the total at Little John Coliseum, where the Tigers have won 12 of 13. Sign up now for your free VSiN subscription at vsin.com/subscribe. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Cookie wants to be a professional wrestler.
I'm Cookie Serratos and I'm 11 years old.
She also wants to win all the medals. That's why Cookie and her family make every day count, squeezing out her best with Go-Go Squeeze.
Okay, Cookie, let's break for a Go-Go Squeeze.
Go-Go Squeeze fruit on the go pouches are a nutritious snack made from 100% fruit with no sugar added.
Go, Cookie!
Because when you nurture your kids, you squeeze out the best in them. Squeeze out the best with Go-Go Squeeze. Not a low-calorie food. Products range from 11 to 13 grams of sugar and 60 to 70 calories per serving.
The spring preview event has arrived with 50% off everything at Banana Republic Factory now through Tuesday, February 21st. Discover fresh styles for the season, rooted in denim and utility. Explore more at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store or online.
Attention small business owners. Did you know you may have overpaid your payroll taxes during COVID? A 10-minute call to Omega Accounting Solutions could save you thousands. Call 800-300-9ERC or visit OmegaTaxCredit.com.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick, professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
This is Ken Wondergem, owner of Gem Mazda Tallahassee. I'm happy to say that our lot is loaded with brand new Mazdas for the first time in over 2 years. But hurry in for the best selection while the value of your trade is still high. Get adventurous and connect with nature in a new 23 Mazda CX-50 all-wheel drive at Gem Mazda, where you get the highest quality of service and care. Gem Mazda of Tallahassee, Capitol Circle Northwest, just up from West Tennessee Street, and always open at gemmazda.com.
Jerry's Famous Cigar Shop is a special place. It's Tallahassee's only traditional gentleman's cigar lounge with a massive collection of hard-to-find boutique cigar brands, a staff with over 100 years of combined cigar knowledge and experience, the best prices in town with full box discounts, a great selection of beer and wine, indoor and outdoor seating, private lockers, and best of all, Jerry's is a local family-owned business. Visit us on Sherrill Road or the new lounge on Curry Forest Parkway, the only cigar lounge for the true gentleman.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Like and subscribe. Get on in there. Celebrate the goodness. They discovered in Yorkshire the largest dinosaur footprint ever. I read that 5:47 a.m. this morning, Tom, and smiled ear to ear. You know I love that kind of stuff.
Was it in a marsh that they cleared?
Yeah, it's along the coastline.
Yep.
Massive footprint. You should see this thing.
Held the finish. Called it.
I think they said Jurassic period, so around 100 million, just over 100 million years old. Pretty cool. Just an aside, a lot of negative things in the world, a lot of negative things on the news feed, generally speaking. But when the dinosaur footprints come up, or paintings or whatever it might be that are sold for millions of dollars and we're in somebody's backyard shed, I perk up. You know I do.
So that's where Jimbo's playbook was found.
You know what I was reading during the break? And actually, this is beginning to bother me. And I hope we're on the cusp of making these kinds of discussions irrelevant. And that is kind of the state of Florida recruiting, big boards, 10 of the most impactful 2024 prospects and what schools they're considering going to, right? Now, I have shifted my attention away from the transfer portal at Florida State to the high school ranks to see how much of a step up in that arena does Florida State's coaching staff take. I suspect quite a bit by the early evidence for the 2024 class that seems to be true, but it's also important in my mind. Not everybody agrees. That's fine. I don't need you to agree. It's my show. What I'll tell you is that I am monitoring that in a way, and you can say monitoring if you want.
I did. My influence did.
I am monitoring that to be sure that that we're well represented, because I'm tired of teams just rolling on into Florida deciding they're going to take our kids. Our kids, Tom. Undue influence from outside the state. They need to be ushered to Florida State University, and only Florida State University. These 5-star prospects from our own state. Now, I understand that you don't have room for all, so some will get the byproducts of what it is you don't want. In a perfect world, he's not good enough. You can have him, Miami or Florida. Here's our scraps from what we don't want.
I hear the going rate's $4.5 million, Florida.
So, you look at some of these kids, and again, I don't know who all these guys are. They're 2024, 2025 prospects, kids like that. I'm not spending a lot of time on the kiddies, but I do know if they're that well thought of, they should be coming here. And I start to look at, well, where are they going? So there's like a 5-star kid named Jeremiah Smith. You know of him? 6'3", 190-pound wide receiver, already committed to Ohio State. Damn it, man. I don't like it. There's a 5-star defensive lineman. Those are hard to come by. Got to get those guys. Got to snatch those dudes up. David Stone is that kid's name.
Oh, that's a name. That's a winner.
It's a 5-star. He's at IMG Academy. Right there. Let's go down and get David Stone.
Nickname is D Stone.
Top 10 overall recruit. Top 5 defensive line recruit. 6'4", 285. Teams he's considering, Tom. Ohio State, Michigan State. Get the hell up out of here with that. Oklahoma. No, I don't like it. Not one bit. 5-star corner. Ellis Robinson.
Maybe. That could be a bust.
Already committed, Tom. Doesn't really matter. Guess where? Georgia.
Mm.
So I've just named 3, all 3 out of state. Ernest Willer. Can you guess the position?
Ooh.
Could be Willor.
Okay.
If I were Willer, I'd change it to Willor.
Running back.
He's a defensive lineman, also at IMG.
An end? Or
defensive line, he's 250 pounds,
okay.
6'4".
All right. That would not work as an interior guy.
Defensive lineman, no.
Yeah.
Penn State, Maryland, Alabama, Ole Miss, Wisconsin, and on the fringe, Miami.
Well, some of this,
come on, man.
I get it, but some of these IMG kids are from different parts of the country.
I understand.
So they're not technically Florida kids. Some of them.
Go through, look at some of these other guys. Charles Lester III.
Oh, all right.
Now, we like Charles.
Safety.
We like Charles Lester III. He's a cornerback, so good job.
Okay.
I thought so, too.
No, he's going to be a safety.
Yeah.
You wait.
He's 6'1", 170, so he's already got some good height and weight to him.
Going to get to 6'3".
Considering, first and foremost, Florida State University. Oh, come on down, Charles Lester III. Let's go, baby. He's also looking at Clemson. No. Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Ohio State.
Ooh, okay. Some stiff competition.
He's already taken a picture with Dabo, unfortunately. It's a
Oh,
cheesy
no.
picture at that.
Does he look like he's enjoying the photo? Charles?
Dabo looks like he always does, smiling ear to ear, thinking I may fool another one. Yeah. All right, here's one for you because I like you to guess, and we're on the list. We're on the list. 5-star athlete, 6'2", 170. I know you need the size, the weight, the speed, all that. He's just considered an athlete. JoJo Trader. Gotta have him. Man's name is JoJo Trader. You gotta have him.
Trader? As in?
Trader.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
JoJo Trader. Yeah, I like this. I like JoJo Trader.
He could be
is
your
considering Florida State. Yeah.
Be like your Jamie Robinson. Little combo guy in the slot.
I just like JoJo
Strong
Trader. It
safety.
sounds right, doesn't it? I'll give you another one that sounds right. And I like, he's already a commitment elsewhere, unfortunately, but we could probably win him over. Jonathan Eccles. You had to guess Jonathan Eccles' height and weight. What would you go with?
Jonathan Eccles?
Mm-hmm. Jonathan Eccles.
5'11", 210.
No, 6'4", 230. He is an athlete as well, is committed to Tennessee. Not what we do.
Johnny Eccles is 6'4". We got to work on that.
Last one, he's on the list. Offensive lineman, 6'5", 290. IMG, considering Florida State, Miami, Florida. So the big three are in, along with Alabama and Ole Miss. He has been on campus at Florida State University multiple times. Come on. Jimothy Lewis.
Jimothy Lewis. Outstanding.
I don't know. Jerry, I want to name him Anthony. Well, I want his name to be Jim or James. But I've always loved Anthony. Well, how about Jimothy? Okay. There it is.
6'5" what?
290.
I long for, and I don't
Jimothy.
I don't think it has to be too much longer. A day in which that is affixed as a size and profile of a guard here at Florida State. It's 6'5", 305, 6'5", 310. So we like those agile guys. And Armella could be the first. Lucas Simmons certainly has a great frame for Clearwater International Academy. And a great name for the position. Lucas Simmons is not a center. Lucas Simmons is a tackle, though.
Without question.
Jimothy is a pulling guard. He is, or a center. He is not a tackle.
Ever since I gave us Noddy to the Noles and it worked out, and I've also landed several other players for Florida State University over the years, further endearing myself to the Nole community as we have. But I would tell you that this I feel like there's a couple names in here that I got to get, that I've got to pull, and Jimothy is high on the list of people that I got to get in here. Come on, Jimothy.
Yeah, we want Lester as well.
Yeah.
You got to work on Trey Lester because it's Trey, I'm assuming. That's his nickname.
I just like, if I'm able to pull it off.
Because it's officially Charles Lester III. Is that right? Is my short-term memory intact?
Charles Lester III. There was Jonathan Eccles, JoJo Trader, who I feel like I should get. Charles Lester III.
Trey Lester. Like, even when that nickname
He's not
throws
Charles.
down,
You're going to go with Trey?
Well, that also has a nice little ring to it for somebody who's going to be a hit.
For that matter, a running back named Jarek Gibson has a good ring to it, too. Jarek,
yeah.
I want to name him Jerry. What about Derek? No, Jerry. What about Derek? How about Jarek?
Like McKinnon.
Mm-hmm. So, just kids, keep an eye on. I'll probably pull a couple of them for us, guys. Just wanted to let you know. Put them on your radar. Wasn't planned. I was reading it during the break. I was disappointed when I went one by one and saw that many of these Florida kids were headed down the road elsewhere to those that would mean us harm.
Ready for this? Mm-hmm. Drops back to throw. It's picked off by Charles Lester III. And that's how Chris Fowler signs off with dismay when we shut down Miami
Yet again.
Yep.
I want you to look here. Now, look at the telestrator. I'm going to show you a block from Jimothy Lewis. This thing is what you're asking for here. Now, he gets out. That's great footwork right there. But look at the way he finishes this block. Now, that's how you finish a block. This is Jimothy Lewis is one to keep an eye on. I've got him projected late first round as of right now, but more blocks like that will see him rise up the board. I promise you.
Call him Jimmy Cakes.
Big Jimothy is a kid from IMG, and Florida State was on him from the beginning. Has been on campus numerous times. You know, he's originally from Mississippi, Al. Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
July 9, 1755, near Fort Duquesne, now the city of Pittsburgh, a 23-year-old British officer leads his troops in battle during the French and Indian War. Though fired upon repeatedly, this young lieutenant colonel remains unharmed to the disbelief of the native warriors. 15 years later, a respected chief sat over a council fire with this same man. As he told all those listening, the Great Spirit protects this man and guides his destiny. He will become the chief of nations, and a people yet unborn will hail him as the founder of a mighty empire. The man was George Washington, who went on to become the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army and the first president of the United States. Celebrating our nation's quest for freedom. Whitten Glass on South Monroe. For mirrors, shower enclosures, and window glass, call 222-5781. And Sellers Tile on Capitol Circle Northeast. For tile, carpet, hardwood, and luxury vinyl, call 656-8453.
So let's say you're considering buying a new home in the current climate. We've all heard that demand is high, inventory is low. So how do you get a leg up on the rest of the buyers all making offers on the same house as you? Oh, that's a toughie. But the first place I'd suggest you start is with a call to my friend Shannon at Legendary Home Loans. Shannon will set you up with a complete pre-approval underwriting. This used to be an upgrade, but nowadays it's got to be standard. You want to get your offer on a new home pushed to the front of the line, you need a TBD full underwriting approval from Legendary Home Loans. You'll shorten or even remove your financing contingency, and the sellers will know that your offer is real and ready to go. It's tough out there these days, folks, so why not have the advantage of a proven winning team in your huddle? Get pre-approval underwriting from my friend Shannon with the one and only Legendary Home Loans. Call now, 844-FSU-LOAN, 844-FSU-LOAN, or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
State football. I'm actually going to combo things here this segment, Tom. I'm going to welcome in our friends at ISF. Not just yet.
Can't wait to welcome.
Not just yet. Our partners, collaborators, cohorts, advertisers, business partners at ISF.
It's a good question today, too. Look forward to this.
Yeah, I'll get to it in just a minute. You know, we do this every now and again when people pass away. I didn't get to mention the other day with De La Soul's situation, but that broke my heart. But did you see Raquel Welch died yesterday? Raquel Welch, who you know, right? That's
yeah, sure.
An internal bombshell, if you will. A siren is another way of saying that. Raquel Welch, a siren. I'm going to argue, Tom. I'm going to tell you that she's the original, you know, Selma Hayek, and that Raquel Welch, certifiably hot as hell in 1960, and also 2010. It is unreal. Never, it will never happen again, I don't think. Selma's making a run, and I am just being a pig, everybody. I am. But Raquel Welch showed up to a movie premiere in like 2005, Tom, and I remember going, what in the world? Remember when I was documenting how old Bob Hope was? And Bob Hope was old in 1970.
Still going.
Yeah, he's dead as a doornail. But Bob Hope, the day I did the Bob Hope segment, where that awful picture of him on the front cover of whatever the magazine was, and I went, oh, God, Bob, Jesus. My shoes are brown. So I remember thinking, poor Bob, they shouldn't wheel him out like that. It's over. And then I started looking up some numbers, and I thought, this is crazy. I was shocked. Bob Hope was old in 1975, and that became the joke. Like, he was still alive in 2010 or whatever it was, and he was old in 1975. Raquel Welch was beautiful in 1960, was beautiful in 1990, and was still beautiful in 2010. That is crazy. Crazy person genes.
Yeah, Jane Seymour had the ability to stay like just gorgeous into her later decades.
Not like Raquel Welch.
Yeah.
I mean, Raquel, go.
Sophia Loren.
High on the list. Yeah, Andy Dufresne, the poster. That is a famed poster.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, one of my friends noted upon seeing Raquel Welch's death that he had that same poster of Raquel Welch. A lot of people did. That was from the movie 1 Million Years BC. And that's the famed outfit, as we will just say that. Wondrous. I'm sure many a man, must have been odd back then when men came home with that outfit for their wives. Do you think, maybe? the shoes too. Keep the shoes on. Yeah, it was something. So rest in peace, Raquel Welch. Not going to go on and on about it. It is stunning to note that somebody was really good looking for 50 freaking years. That doesn't happen.
Probably more than that, too.
60 years. 60 years, Raquel. I bet at 82, Raquel, she just died. She might have been hot yesterday. I don't know. Or 2 days ago, whenever it was. Probably not. Probably that last moment might have been the first time in her life that she wasn't, as an adult, beautiful. It would be weird to speculate as I was starting to go down that road. How do you like that segment, ISF? Let's segue on in, baby. Let's bring him in. Jonathan's going, Jesus, Jeff, really? Now, we have a real question because I tell you guys all the time, ISF helps state governments solve for the future. They use strategy, process, technology. Those components are key, and they help you out. And all these things that I've noted before, decades ISF has worked with state agencies just like yours, and those challenges that you're facing, the ever-changing landscape of technology, how to streamline that. They advise, protect, advance your business interests, but they collaborate, and I'm going to collaborate with you guys in the chat right now, a la ISF. And that question that Tom and I were talking about, kicking around earlier today, is this. Which Florida State athletes, or do you want to say new, Tom?
No, because there could be some guys that are holdovers that are going to take on a bigger importance in 2023.
So let me ask you guys, let me do it this way. which Florida State athlete, this is just an honest to goodness question, it will help shape our workload. There you go. You get to dictate to us. After all, you're the consumer. So I'll ask you, which athletes do you want us to write about on the football team? Because there ain't a damn soul you want us to write about on the basketball team, so don't worry about that.
And talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and talk
On
about, write
Warchant
about
TV.
all of it. Yeah, sure, all of it. Name the players you're most interested in learning about, hearing from, have us discuss, get to know, interview, whatever it might be. I'm throwing it back on your laps. This is, you know what? This is an exciting segment. And I don't say that because it's our friends at ISF Solving the Future, but because we haven't had the ability to do it all that often. And now you have a bevy of guys to learn about, hear from, and follow closely because of the impact that they're going to have on the upcoming season. Folks, we're only 7 months away from football. It's right around the corner. Let's go. Let us know. Who do you want to hear from? What do you want us to pursue regarding these athletes? Interviews, write-ups, you name it, all of that. And, of course, we'll follow them for the spring practice, which quite literally is right around the corner. So we're getting close.
That's only a couple of weeks away. And there are jobs to be won or lost in spring because you can eliminate yourself if you fall too far behind and maybe you have to transfer out, something along those lines. Florida State's over the scholarly limit right now. So some kids are going to play their way into a better position and some kids are going to play their way into a conversation that's uncomfortable at the end of camp.
Take it on down the road kind of conversation.
Or an internal conversation. Just one where you're thinking, man, I can't catch these guys. I'm going to have to go play somewhere else. They're too deep at wide receiver.
You guys make me laugh. Yes, Ventrell Cypress, Johnny Wilson, and then somebody, our friend Noel Dad, chimes in with Geno English. Both kickers from Tom. Okay.
The entire offensive line, Tom, that's going to take a while because they've got 12, 13 legitimate contenders now. If the development track is expedited for a couple of these kids, there's a lot of dudes.
There's a fight that's going to take place that on a daily basis we will document for the growth of this program and the dominance of a team or potential dominance of a team. And it lies within that offensive line group and that defensive line group, and both competing at the same time should make for real drama. Guys wanting reps to be part of that first team or at least first off the bench, guys wanting to start for a team that has real high expectations, means intense competition on a daily basis at the line of scrimmage, which is what we like to watch anyhow. We know Florida State has filled out the skill position players pretty well over the course of the last 2 years. But the trenches, as they say, cliche as it might be, are where games are won and lost. And Florida State has gotten much better there, especially on the offensive line. It'll be very interesting to see what this defensive line looks like. That's an area that's got to get a lot better because offenses with a pulse move the ball, partly because this defensive line really wasn't good enough to dominate too many games this year. So we shall see. But you're right. I'm really, really pumped about that group of players. So that's why we threw it to you. Zyler, good choice, by the way. I like it. Blake Nicholson, I think we should talk a lot about him as well. Winston's a good choice as well because, remember, he's a guy that kind of gets left out. We lost the services of him at wide receiver before the year began. We were really concerned about that. And so it'll be interesting to see where he is coming off that injury, having that whole year to rehab. And he was already looking good towards the end of the year at practice. So there you go.
Tally 850 has an interesting collection of players. Toafili, who's a holdover and a Swiss Army knife and, on the ground, and a good insurance policy in case some of your younger guys or your more inexperienced players don't take as quickly as you want. So Toafili is a good utility piece to the puzzle. Jaheim Bell, of course, is going to be a featured part of the offense, we think. And then you've got two newcomers on the other side. So it's a veteran that you know what they're about, a veteran transfer that helps to put the offense over the top, at least we hope. And then two of the younger defensive backs that could help shape the conversation in A.Z. Thomas and Shaheem Brown.
Well, I'm going to watch A.Z. Thomas really close anyhow. I think he's a big part of where Florida State has to get to. And Shaheem Brown, I like a lot already. I get it. Briley, that's a good choice as well. And Noel Dad said something I am going to give him credit for here. I agree with him. I'm fascinated to see what this group gets out of Travis Jay. I know, roll your eyes if you will. He's just too good an athlete. He's still on the roster. The guy fought through some things over the last year and a half. The fact that he's still here shows me that he at least has a stick-to-itiveness that's admirable. If we can get this kid to play up to his athleticism, well, then you actually have a diamond in the rough. You have a guy that has immense ability that just hasn't been able to produce it on a consistent basis. Now, there are some circumstances that I'd rather not get into that led to some of that, and it's not nefarious, guys. It's personal stuff for him. So we would love to see him be able to overcome all that and do well.
Well, again, it's a new set of eyes for that defensive back group. So you've got to start all over again. Even if you were Renardo Green and you were entrenched as somebody who was going to get all the snaps, you've got to, please the eye of a new, well-trained, and we hope well-equipped coach who can develop even better. And the shuffling that's going to come with it is going to be really interesting to see what position each of these players lands in. Shaheem, you could make an argument, is the replacement for Jamie Robinson on the roster. Or he could play over the top. Renardo Green could play safety, or he could play outside corner if you don't like the answers there. You think Cypress is going to be one of your outside corners. Kevin Knowles' job isn't locked down at slot. He didn't have a great year. Greedy Vance and Jarion Jones had a good finish to the season. So maybe there's a battle going on there. Omarion Cooper is a guy who's lost in the shuffle. There's a whole lot going on with that defensive back group. And they're still wanting to add a safety before it's all said and done, and that would be before fall camp. So there's a lot to be meted out there. You've got enough bodies to solve the problem, but it matters greatly what Surtain is going to think about this whole group because it's going to frame the conversation. Also, we get to see maybe in those one-on-one drills and 7-on-7 drills, maybe there's some different schematics, different technique. It's going to be fun to watch.
Man, it gets pumped up. I like the way you laid out right there. That was perfect because I agree with all of that. And I also, it is an important development. And I think a step forward for the program, all of the things that.
And I really didn't even say Travis J.
I was just about to say, yeah.
I mean, that's a wild card. If he is a contributor, then it gets even better. The puzzle becomes fun. It's like, which piece fits best? They all fit, but which one fits best in this place?
The one thing we didn't mention, it's funny because we kind of feel like we have some things in our back pocket here. And that is that, we're just going to assume that Jordan Travis is going to be on that same path that he's been on, which is that of ascension. We're going to assume that Johnny Wilson takes another step forward and the receivers will be a strength on this football team. Outside of Winston Wright, which we're going to watch closely to see how he assimilates into this offense. Hakeem Williams is a good one to throw in there as well, though. I mean, obviously, with what he could be body type-wise and speed and size and all of that. But it's nice to be able to say that you're keenly interested in certain other aspects of this team and that you've moved on from other aspects of this team. We really haven't been in that position, kind of a luxury position in the last several years.
I agree. I mean, and you could go to most every position group and say that there is some uncertainty. Some. Like Trey Benson, of course, is going to be your lockdown running back. But who's number 2 now? Is it Keziah Holmes? Is it Rodney Hill?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Toa Feely?
Maybe your guy. Could be Rodney Hill.
It could be Rodney Hill.
It could be. He's a talent.
At quarterback, you brought it up already, but who's going to be entrenched as the number 2? Look, Duffy's got to run down Tate. It's Tate by a mile right now, but you've got 2 camps to help change that equation. And I would think in spring especially, you're going to get a huge shot at making a run at solidifying your case if you're A.J. Duffy to be the number 2 quarterback. Then you could go to the offensive line and say, who are your best 4 tackles on the roster on the offensive line? You really could start in multiple places. Robert Scott is going to be in that equation, but could it be one of the transfers? Could it be Bless Harris returning in that equation as one of your top 4? Is it all transfers? And then Robert Scott becomes a guard for you. This whole shuffling, I mean, you saw what the group was last year. You're starting 5 up front on the offensive line. They could all be in different positions. Or you could have 5 new people completely. Maurice Smith was entrenched as your center, but I don't know that that's going to be the case when this is all said and done. Darius Washington could be your center. Who knows?
Man, options, Tom. Options.
Roddick could be your center.
Depth, intensity, competition, talent. These are the words
and
that excite the masses.
It's competition against competition because on the defensive line, Jared Verse is going to be one of your guys. And so is Fabian Lovett. But Braden Fisk could make some noise and maybe be your alpha in the defensive interior if he can assimilate to the Power 5 level quick enough. You got a Miami transfer. You got Farmer. You got the 3 young kids who are looking to make a step up. Gilbert Edmond versus Derek McClendon versus Patrick Payton for the other edge rusher job.
Yeah,
Dennis
oh yeah,
Briggs
no,
is in the mix there.
that's another one. Yeah, we've got no shortage of topics and ideas for the spring and on into the fall. But we did, for this version of solving the future with ISF, we wanted to collaborate, get back to you guys in the chat and kind of figure out where we were on story ideas. Who's the most interesting of the candidates? It's just nice that you have so many people saying this guy, like 15 different guys. We didn't have 15 different guys that would have moved the needle in that way, shape, or form prior to last year. Maybe entering last year, you started to see some of that. Now it's bona fide. And we even moved on from segment groups that you're like, yeah, they're great. Let's move on to this other area, which is really, really cool. ISF, helping solve the future. You guys haven't heard me talk about that in the past. They see your vision. They'll utilize their expertise to help you, collaborate with you to solve for the future. They know you work hard and that your constituents depend on you, and they can help you do an even better job and help you realize those innovations and vision. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Tallahassee International Airport announced Wednesday its new partnership with JetBlue. After losing 96% of its travelers once COVID hit, the Tallahassee International Airport has made large strides in recreating a great travel experience. This resulted in its partnership with JetBlue Airlines. The airport has been in talks with JetBlue for the last 6 years in hopes of creating more service options. Now the airport has a total of 4 airlines, including American, Delta, and Silver Airways. This in turn will create more jobs for the city of Tallahassee, but as for now, the airport is still working on a concrete number. Florida A&M University announced Wednesday that a member of its board of trustees has died. Trustee Thomas W. Dortch Jr. died at age 72. The university did not disclose a cause of death. Dortch had been a member of FAMU's board of trustees since 2016. He was reappointed by the Florida Board of Governors in November of 2020. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with highs around 78. Winds out of the south 10 to 20 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms tonight. Lows dip down to about 64. Cloudy skies expected. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 67. Overcast skies. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 79.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
This is Tyler from Bear No Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere.
Save big time in the new year and get $1,200 off select new units.
Online at BearNoAC.com.
Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears is what you're saying.
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Hey, Matt.
Yes, Greg?
You know all the different ways that you can listen to Real Talk 93.3?
There are several.
So we've got realtalk93.com. You can go back and listen to all of our shows in the podcast section.
That's right. You can also listen on our app as well.
Search Real Talk 93.3 and look for the red microphone and download our app. Never go anywhere without us.
And of course, you can always listen right on the radio.
Well, they are listening.
Are they?
If they're hearing this commercial, then they're listening.
That's true. I hadn't thought about that.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
All related, that's right. If you missed the interview yesterday with Link Jarrett, go find it. It's up, Warchant TV, YouTube, warchant.com. You can find it. It was a nice conversation. I enjoyed it. And I appreciate that Link is pretty much just, you can ask. Link's a straight shooter. He'll talk about that roster, and he did pretty thoroughly. And the candor is appreciated is what I'm getting at. So I think you'll like that. If you're a baseball guy, you care about baseball, you want to know who these players are and the way they view them right now coming into the season, doesn't mean that won't change. And obviously roles get carved out differently as the year progresses, and players either succeed or fail in those roles. But, I mean, he came forth with all of it and was not shy about, I would say, praising certain players and needing more from others.
I was surprised to hear him go on about a certain freshman corner infielder. I didn't know, because every coach is different about placing
Mike
pressure.
Martin Jr. didn't have any problems or qualms talking about players that he had a high ceiling for and that he thought they would be really good. But not every coach likes to go about that because of the added pressure that sort of conversation can create. But it appears that Link isn't worried about that either, in that feels like the young man is impervious to it, that his talent overcomes it no matter what.
Yeah, the thing that he did for Cam was to say that, look, there are going to be some bumps in the road where he's never been exposed to something quite like this, where, I think that's fair to say. You're a shortstop if you're the best player on a team in Little League, in Legion Ball, and in high school. Now you're moving to a different position, so that can mess with your brain in terms of everything, because if you feel uncomfortable in the field, you might take that with you to the plate. And then also, every at-bat's tougher. If you face a setup man or a closer in ACC play, there is no relaxing. Whereas probably in high school, I'm just assuming here, but if you can get through the first guy, the rest of them aren't as good. And it's a precipitous drop-off in skill level about who's coming next to the bump. So there are going to be some bumps in the road for Cam Smith, but you can't fake that size. You can't fake that motion. And by that, I mean the motion of the swing and the power he generates. It's going to be fun to see, and I'm glad that Link is not afraid if he believes the kid is good enough to place a little bit of pressure on him. But I just love that every question you asked him, and you asked him a lot, he had already considered it in his own world, in his own method, and he has a reason for everything that he does. And usually the reason is bullet point 1, subsection A, B, and C. Bullet point 2,
it's thorough.
Subsection A, B, and C.
Yeah, being thorough is important. I think as a baseball manager especially, you have a lot of things to consider with every move, and he does consider them all. Weighty decisions. Hey, I got to tell you, Cam Smith, as excited as I am about the freshman third baseman, to see what he is. We know 6'3", 230, a lot of power, all those things. And a lot of guys you worry about adjusting to this level, as you're talking about with pitching and deeper pitching staffs especially. But I'm actually curious to see how he does defensively at that size over at third base, and how light on his feet he is, how soft are his hands. But a guy we kind of glossed over that it sounds strange to say it, but I have some high hopes for, and maybe I'm wrong on this because we did see him for 3 years, but boy, that was a tumultuous 3 years, and I felt like he really kind of fell off a cliff and couldn't get right mentally. And upon transferring to Missouri, you saw the core talent come out in him, had a much better year. Now he dropped off towards the end of that year. In the middle of the season, a lot of people looked at that and used it as an argument against the staff, which I understood. I mean, he transferred to Missouri, and at one point halfway through the season was hitting like 380. And people went, well, okay. And I got that. That is frustrating to say the least. But somewhere in there is the real Nander DeSatis, and I would like to see that young man play really well at second base, not just because it helps the team and he has a chance to be very good defensively, but offensively, I think there's something in there with his experience and hopefully now confidence that Florida State has, another player that maybe not a lot of people are counting on to be a catalyst for this offense, but I think he can be.
Well, yeah, I wonder if he ends up in the DH rotation, because the way it sounded when you asked Link about him, he said he provides depth, but also the veteran presence at second base, which tells me, just reading the tea leaves, that maybe you could find somebody else to play second, but that bat is something that you want in a lineup. I also we got to fix first base. We can't this year, clearly, but we got to fix the situation at first base and have a real, I like cookie cutter first baseman. That's one position where I don't believe
Tibbs could be that.
He's 6 feet tall.
Oh, I understand what you're talking about, but I'm talking about hitting for power.
Sure.
I mean, we had Slappy at first base.
Yes, the slash line's going to look fine, and Tibbs is a really talented player.
Yeah, he's not 6'5". Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
and I understand what Link is trying to do in terms of all right, if we can put Tibbs here,
Well,
then
you're
it opens
lengthening
up
the lineup with
opportunity.
hitters, and
We get maybe a little bit better defensively in the outfield.
Tibbs' swing is just so pretty, man.
The funny thing was he's talking about right field, and he's talking about how, we need a good player out there, but we need better players at center and left.
Well, that's a nice way of saying he needs people that can really run in center and left, and not somebody in right because of the short porch. And it's just a unique position.
Well, it's just then Jamie, when we have a short porch left, he can play left field.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
I feel like you think that's going to be, received as a positive. It's not.
No.
But we need the bat. We need the bat in the lineup.
He's slow is what I'm telling you.
Look, man, I'd like taller first baseman to be able to clean up mistakes. And there are a lot of mistakes throwing across the diamond.
Especially in college.
At the college level. And we've got to get better there. And it sounded like that was a tentative plan to play Tibbs at first because he's still kind of understanding the position, starting to get it. Love his footwork, love his speed. Yeah, man, but the range, they're not fixed. And that's a square peg round hole situation. So there's going to be some things that it's not perfect. There's a reason he's taking over because it's not a perfect situation. But I look forward to that being settled in the years to come.
I'm also looking forward very much to watch transfer McGuire Holbrook as soon as he's healthy. He's not, quote, ready yet, returning from that injury. The quote from Link Jarrett was soon. Is soon not this weekend, but next? Because that'd be cool. I mean, nothing personal against him, but I can't watch Colton Vincent play catcher again this year. Not for a prolonged period of time.
Hey, maybe with this set of eyes and the instruction he gets here.
Nope.
Okay.
Don't want it. Dude's $160. I'm tired of it. He also isn't very good. So that combination is deadly.
$187.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Again, he's not very good. So let's just go that route. I want McGuire Holbrook. Let's get healthy, young man. We need you out there. I heard there was no shortage of candidates at catcher. Hopefully there are.
It sounds like they all do something well, but not the other. Or in.
Well, we were told that Colton was a vacuum back there. That he, nothing gets past the young man. I'm like, okay, well, if you're gonna hit $160, you better be able to pick it up. But neither were true. So, hey, now again, that's not a personal attack. The observation is that he stunk last year. Now he could take huge strides, and God bless him, maybe he will, and maybe I'll serve as tough love Cameron for Colton Vincent.
You're going to get the size you like. Holbrook and Vincent are the same height, but Holbrook is 230.
There you go.
I was waiting.
Squatty 230. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go.
He's only a junior, too. The West Virginia transfer portal. But he's only a junior. And it sounds like if he doesn't have, the perfect season to go on and be paid as a professional, that Link is really squarely in the corner of McGuire Holbrook. Like, he really enjoyed plucking that kid from West Virginia.
Really quickly, the only other piece that, opening day's tomorrow, guys. This is the reason it's the subject. But I wanted to point out, because we had questions afterwards. There were questions going into the interview, but it didn't take long for Link to talk about it. Wyatt Crowell is again going to come out of the bullpen, is not in the weekend rotation the way that folks wanted to see the junior lefty crack that rotation. And I get it because of stuff. 2-1-2 last year, 6-1 out of the bullpen, but he's a guy that, again, in high leverage situations, you want a guy. You need a dude, a really good one. And they feel like he serves best for now out of the pen. Now, that can change, and he said as much. But you got Carson Montgomery, Jackson Baumeister, who I like a lot, and Jamie Arnold on Sundays. So that's a freshman left-hander on a Sunday. It's interesting we go with a freshman on the game 3 of a series.
Yeah, I would think that the state of the series, is it a rubber game or not, would directly influence how long the freshman can be left to his devices out there. Well, it's not a settled matter, but if they do turn Montgomery into a Friday night guy, I think Crowell is going to find his way back into the weekend. And at that point, you might have the 1-2 that you're looking for here to take this thing and make it fun, make it real fun.
Tim McCarver, 2-time World Series champion, who obviously is most known by this audience, not for his baseball talents, but rather as a broadcaster. He did so nationally for a very long time and in 3 major league cities, including with your New York Mets, has died today at the age of 31, heart failure, as it is with all of us. 81 for Tim McCarver, 81 years of age. McCarver, obviously going all the way back to 1959, playing with the Cardinals, a Hall of Famer, Emmy Award winner, and somewhat polarizing as a broadcaster. Many around here will remember the famed incident in which Deion Sanders doused water on him. That was not an incident in which Deion bathed himself in glory. But that is something that might jog your memory if you did not know who Tim McCarver was, but dead today at the age of 81.
It's amazing the career. I don't mean to pivot off of Tim because Tim was he's a voice of my childhood. If you heard Tim McCarver, you were playing in a baseball game that mattered.
And had cool stories about Bob Gibson as well, by the way. Really cool stories.
He was one of the authorities on Bob Gibson, obviously being the battery mate. But if you heard Tim McCarver's voice or John Miller and Joe Morgan's voice, you were playing a game of significance because when I was growing up, it still was the case. MLB.com video was only developing in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And so weekly baseball was a big deal to be able to see your team if you were out of market. Extra innings was very expensive in those days. So Tim formed every World Series from my childhood, including the 2000 Subway Series that we lost in 5 games. I remember it sounded like he was very happy about that. But what was interesting about that is also Joe Buck and McCarver. That was like Joe Buck's original.
Yeah, it was his partner. Yeah.
That team was as unlikable as it got. The two of them together.
Oddly. Yeah, sometimes it is about who you're paired with.
And Joe's career went upwards, and Joe is now one of the better ones. If he's calling the game, am I thrilled? No, but I know he's going to do a good job.
It'll be solid. You're going to get a solid day's effort. Yeah.
Right. But when it was Joe Buck and Tim McCarver, that was tough. That was a tough time.
Well, what's funny is what you talked about it, and we're entering into baseball season, and for me, it signifies the change of seasons, not just athletically. And I always think about, it kind of warms my heart. I love the sounds of baseball. I've talked about them before. I love the sights and smells of baseball. I love being able to come home after doing this show and cook dinner for the family and then have baseball on in the background. It doesn't even have to be my Pirates. I just like the sounds of baseball. And baseball lends itself to that because of the pacing of the game. You really do need a guy who can paint a picture, a guy who can really tell a story. Obviously, there are some very, very famous individuals who most recently have passed, and now you're adding another one to the list. But I always think of guys when I was a kid like Mel Allen. And, This Week in Baseball was, for me, the show of shows. And just being able, and you associate those voices with that game. A little bit like, and not unlike, I guess, John Madden, Pat Summerall with football. You heard those voices, you knew.
Oh, man.
But Mel Allen was that for me, and in a weird way, Tim McCarver was too. And I didn't even have to like Tim McCarver. Steve Stone's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you got home
he was the Cubs.
Yeah, he was the Cubs forever, and then the White Sox, and now he's still doing it.
He's still the Cubs to me. Like, I'm old enough for him to be the Cubs.
Well, he would have to get Harry in line. He would always have to get Harry in line. Harry's drunk off his ass in the second inning. And
a lot of people did.
Yeah, and Steve's like, Harry. And and then there he was. And you just kind of
I'll never forget.
I would do it.
Oh, man. It was a Cubs Pirates game when I was a kid. It was Barry Bonds with the Pirates. So when did he leave? 91, 92?
Barry Bonds?
Yeah, when did he
leave?
Right
after we lost to the Braves in 92.
It might have been one of his early years with the Giants then. Anyway, he was the guy who caught the ball. But the Cubs were staging this unbelievable 9th inning comeback, down like 6 or 7 runs, winning runs at the plate.
Yeah,
it's a drive.
Come all the way back.
It's hit. And then Barry's underneath it. Bonds catches it. Go home. Go home, everybody. The rally falls short. It was like he had somewhere to be. If I'm going to be here, we better win. And they didn't.
There are wonderful moments all over YouTube of Harry Carey imbibing and discussing baseball. And he does so with Bill Murray on a couple of occasions, a young Bill Murray. And it's wonderful. It's entertaining. And then, the famed stories, we could go on and on and on about Barry losing it. When they first got lights, it messed him up. And he's over there looking at moths in the light, thinking it's the ball, telling people how far it's going to be out of the state. It's caught in the infield. Caught by the shortstop. It was way back. Steve's like, Harry, that's routine pump up to the shortstop. And we're done. No runs on no hits at the end of 2.
There's a clip years ago, and it's I've noticed that I found it, and then I saw there was a chain of Knoll fans that every so often find this clip of Summerall and John Madden in the booth watching, at Fox NFL Sunday game from years ago, and Burt Reynolds.
Oh, yeah, and Ann Margaret's next to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And do you know what they talk about?
Yeah, his time at FSU when
he was a guest instructor. Pat Summerall was a guest instructor of Burt Reynolds when he was a player.
But he was a coach.
Well, but he's apparently it's never been listed on. I looked him up. I looked up Pat. It's never been listed in
At
his
FSU.
Wikipedia or wherever that. Like,
Yeah,
what his
man said
title
you
was.
helped coach him, and he said,
Yeah.
yes, I did. And then he
Yeah.
has not so many flattering things.
Right.
He was a defensive back.
Yeah, that's right. Had a big personality.
Was he any good? He had a great personality. I still laugh about
I
it.
didn't know he's Lake City's own Pat Summerall.
Yeah, you can find it. Oh, he ended up retiring in Jacksonville, and in his heyday, would have a good time. Good work out of you. Good work, Director Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a great time, and be unoffended more often. It's okay.